welcome back to the Nourishing Routes channel, where I'll be showing you again how to love food, adore your body and become your authentic self. In this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about eating disorders and some of the real reasons behind them, rather than what we're told. We're told that eating disorders arise because of skinny models in the media and the faddy diets in the media. And they do play a role, but it's definitely not the bigger picture or the bigger meaning behind eating disorders. So without further ado, let's get going and dive into this topic of eating disorders and the real reasons why they occur. Firstly, before we dive into the topic, I'd just like to say that eating disorders affect near enough everybody, whether it's yourself or somebody you know. Eating disorders affect up to 1.6 million people in the UK. Meanwhile, children as young as 3 worry about being fat. There are also 5 million people in the UK who remain depressed about their bodies, and this is just a really, really sad statistic. Also, anorexia has one of the highest mortality rates of any mental illness, and up to a third of anorexia sufferers actually go on to die due to medical complications. So with those statistics out of the way, let's get going and talk about why eating disorders actually occur. We're told that eating disorders happen because individuals want to be skinny and look like the models on the magazines. And that is true to a certain extent. But really, the real meaning behind why eating disorders actually exist is how society makes us feel unworthy, unlovable, unsuccessful, and as though we need to strive to be something other than we are in order to be a human being. Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, it means that we're bombarded with information every day that tell us that we aren't good enough just as we are, and that we should just try and meet some standard of perfection. Now, for some people, this could mean the slim images on a magazine. For some other people, it might be the fact that their diet isn't healthy enough, and they equate this with the fact that their life feels unfulfilling. What's really going on is that society exploits our basic needs, and those basic needs are to feel loved, accepted, and as though we have some meaning and purpose in the world. We also have a need to feel valued and a need to be compassionate to ourselves and other people. But these needs are exploited because society tells us in order to meet those needs, we need to buy the next latest product, we need to go on a diet, we need to alter our appearance or look a certain way. And that's simply not true anymore. We know that happiness doesn't result from having, the best physique or even the best career or the most money in the career that you do. Happiness actually simply arises from feeling as though that you are enough just as you are, and that you have meaningful positive connections in your life. You're able to express creativity. You're able to do things that feel purposeful and meaningful. So with those things in mind, eating disorders happen when individuals feel that these needs aren't being met. And that's really easy to take place because if I put myself in my shoes back when I was 13, 14, I felt as though I wasn't good enough. I didn't have any meaning in my life, and the things that I used to do, such as running and music, weren't giving me any more value because I was placed in a competitive world rather than doing it because I actually enjoyed it. I was also in year 9, which around the age of 13, 14, you lose out on keeping your friends because you move to different classes. You're also suddenly told that if you don't get good grades, you won't get to college or have a good job. And instantly you feel so under pressure and you feel like your worthiness as a human being is just nothing because you now feel like you need to reach society's expectations in order to feel like a good enough person. So for any vulnerable individual who looks at what society's messages are, whether that's on TV, in the media, or just in the books that you read, I took on board the idea that if I could just control what I eat or lost weight, then maybe I would feel valued. Maybe society might think that my life was meaningful. And when you look at happy pictures of skinny models, although that wasn't a trigger for me, when people look at those images or look at society's meaning of success, they can feel so small and minute and just unworthy as a person. But if they see people who have a slim body and they look happy or that the next diet's being promoted and the person advertising that looks really happy, that symbolises to them that if I do that, then maybe I will be valued as a person. Maybe I'll make all these positive social connections, I'll get loads of likes on Instagram, I'll get loads of followers on Instagram, and I'll be popular. But deep underneath that, the real things that are not being met are those needs to feel the value, the love, and as though you're connected to one another. Now, how can we overcome that then? Well, firstly, it's teaching society, young people and older people, that their self-worth doesn't lie in what they do on a scale or how they look or even their academic grades. Those things play a small role in your overall success as a human being, but from what I've learned truly is that it goes much deeper than that. And finding my meaning and purpose in the world has what has really helped me to recover from an eating disorder. So what were those things then? Well, some of those things involved getting into the community. That involved volunteering and meeting individuals who didn't obsess around their weight, around food or their body or what they did in a career. All that mattered was that they were able to take care of themselves enough so that they could help other people. And that added so much value to their life, and it added so much value to mine too. Like to go to a youth centre and feel like even playing a game with someone who's going through a tough time can really just make their day happier, and to see a smile on someone else's face, whether they're a young or an older person, due to something that you've helped them with, is just so fulfilling. And in a way, those activities drew me away from this obsession with food and my weight, because I realised that I could put my energies into so many more better things than that, and that my worthiness as a human being lied in what I did rather than the things that I ate and looked like. So another point touching on that is that a lot of treatment systems for eating disorders do focus on the food and the weight aspects. Now, considering what I've just talked about, that doesn't really get to the underlying issue. If you're going to a treatment centre or someone you love is telling that you just need to eat more or eat better in order to recover from an eating disorder, then that's really not going to help you at a deeper level. What support you really need is to find out who you really are as a person, what lights you up or what made you enjoy life before your eating disorder. It could have been the craziest activity or the craziest of hobbies, but as long as it made you happy and as though you felt as though it gave you some meaning and value and you were able to positively social connect with others, and also feel as though your worth as a human being wasn't tied up in food or weight, then those are the things that we need to start getting back to. Society can also help too massively by taking the focus off people's weight and image. Now we might be like so far from that right now because our media is so jam-packed full of images and aspirational models. But if we can just maybe place a greater perspective on things that are important, like creativity, getting out there and meeting new people, if those things are valued more than altering your food and body weight, then people would be happier and maybe people would fall less into the trap of eating disorders. We can also, in line with that, place less of a focus on academic grades and career and money as things that we should view as successful. And equally, slim and skinny bodies shouldn't be seen as the successful mode that everybody should aspire to. We should be aspiring to people who, give back to the community and also take time for self-care. For me, when I took time for self-care, I was more able to find meaning in what I did because the more energy I was able to give back to others. If I wasn't giving that energy back to myself, then I really wouldn't have been able to contribute to the community and find value and meaning in my life in the everyday things that I did. So, on a final note, I'd just like to say that eating disorders aren't just because you want to be like a skinny model. You have to understand the meaning behind why we strive for those things. And in a sense, a simple sense, it's because we've been told that our worth should be locked up in what we weigh and what we eat. What we really need though, and what we really long for, is to find meaning, purpose, social connection, value and love. I really believe that the more we're able to live our life in love, that we're able to give so much more back. We're able to be compassionate to ourselves, compassionate to others, and that innately reflects on the way that the planet thrives as a whole too. So on that note, I hope you've got something valuable from this video. If you want to find out more, then please subscribe, because I'm going to have more videos in relation to eating disorders and body image in general. You can also visit my website at www.nourishingroutes.com, and you can also like this video or comment below on some future videos that you'd like me to feature in. So finally, I'd like to say bye for the week, and I'll hope you have a great one and that I can see you soon. Bye!